please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hello and welcome to Your Stocks. I'm Nigel D'Souza and with me is Anisha Jain. Anisha, what a fantastic day of trade. The Nifty's moved to the high point of the day. Good to see in the last 1 hour, in fact, that intraday dip was bought. The mid-cap index, that's the star. If you're celebrating 40 points on the Nifty, take a look at the mid-cap index. It's up 1.1% and the breadth of the market as well, looking very, very good. More number of stocks, many stocks advancing in comparison to the ones that are declining.
Well, certainly the mid-cap index is the star. And if you look at the few names that are doing well, Jain Irrigation, of course, stands out. It has been doing well for a while. Other than that, Page Industries, something that we were talking about earlier as well, is doing well. KPIT Technology, Wockhardt, BML, all these stocks doing well in trade. So let's get into answering some stock queries. And joining us today, we have Sharmila Joshi as well as Rajat Bose to answer all your stock queries. Thank you guys for joining us. And first up, let's go across to Jayant Ji, who calls us from New Delhi with a query. I believe he has investments in Hindalco. Sir, thank you for joining us. Tell us, what is your question?
My question is that how long Hindalco will hold, because it is a 240 level. So how long it should be hold? Because I have my buying price is 272.
Okay, Sharmila, coming to you on Hindalco. Of course, we have seen that big rally come in metals. What's your take? Is there any steam left as far as metals rally is concerned?
Yeah, I think unfortunately the investors bought it at a slightly high price. I mean, you know, this is a stock that's really been on the move for the past 2 years, if not, thereabouts. So ever since we've seen this rally in metal start, Hindalco has pretty much participated. So which is why I think, now it's entered into a bit of a consolidation phase, because I think, the kind of data that you're hearing from overseas also tends to sort of drive the stock down in between the rises that you see in the stock. But that said, I think I expect aluminium demand to be extremely strong going forward. And I think the domestic story in aluminium is still waiting to play out. Hindalco has obviously gained from the fact that they had an overseas aluminium presence because of Novelis. So I think, once you see the domestic story also catch up in terms of the demand pickup in aluminium, you will see a further rise in the share price. So I would be patient at this point in time, but all said and done, 272 was a slightly higher price to get into the stock, but I don't think that it's a sell for me at 250. So at this price, I would continue to hold.
All right, let's go across to Rajat then. Rajat, the fundamental view is that hold on seems to have got the top actually at around the 270. Your take on it?
Well, I would say the top around 275 on 1st of November. From there the correction began and it ran its course perhaps up to the 7th of December when it hit 229, and after that it is showing a recovery. Now it appears, after yesterday's move, it appears that the correction is finally over and it's gaining strength. So I would suggest him to hold on to his position, and probably the target would be again 270 to 280. Sharmila rightly said that he has purchased at a very high level, so prospect of gains, at least in the short to medium term, appears limited, but over the longer term probably he would make some money. But as of now, he should continue to hold on.
Okay, so you can make some money in Hindalco if you hold it for the long term. That's the word coming in from Rajat. But let's move on and answer one more stock query. Mahesh Kumar calls us from Gujarat with a query. I believe he has investments in Lupin. Sir, tell us, what is your question? And thank you so much for joining us.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Tell us, what is your question on Lupin?
Yes, ma'am. I'm holding Lupin from last 6 months, and my average price is 1004.
Okay.
So I would like to know that I'm holding it for long term, say 4 to 3 years. So I would like to add 2-3 lakhs rupees more in any pharma stock. So Lupin is the right choice, or any other stock I should switch over?
Okay, Sharmila, what's your word on Lupin? Of course, it has hazard issues with Goa and the stock price has crashed post that. What do you suggest? Is Lupin the right name to get into the pharma space, or there are much better names available?
Oh, well, I think his query is two parts. So let's answer what he should do with his existing stock. I think for me at this price, the stock is a hold. Yes, I think there have been concerns for Lupin over the Goa facility, and I think even if you saw their numbers this last quarter, while the numbers were good, you did see quite, the US business is where the pain is. And I think that's a constant for all companies. You do have sort of issues for every company with one plant or one product somewhere or the other. So I think that again is a common, the sort of the region may differ. In Lupin's case, is their Goa plant. For someone else, it could be somewhere else. But this, these kind of problems and the fact that you're seeing a bigger price erosion in the US than most pharma companies had anticipated is a common. That said, I think for me at this price, the stock is a hold. In terms of new investment, I would actually recommend Sun Pharma at this price, at the price that it's at. But, I would... the other view along with that is that pharma is not really in the space that it can be a runaway rally. So you will have to keep your patience in whatever stock you buy.
Okay, all right. That's a view coming in on Sun Pharma. By the way, keep an eye out on Jet Airways. The stock has moved to around 720. So I think we should get the intraday chart up for you on the screen. It's moving higher. Volumes as well, very, very strong. Exactly 1 month ago, the stock on November 20th, I think, so it hit around 727. From there, it saw quite a sharp correction, but now that stock is moving higher. It's moving with some strength, so we'll keep an eye out on that stock very, very closely.
Well, as far as Nifty is concerned, we are holding on to 10,430. The Bank Nifty is slipping just a tad bit because that one is now higher by 0.3%. But the mid-cap index, that one is racing ahead because that index is now up 1.1%. And one space from the broader markets that is doing well is the sugar space. Remember, during the day we got the news that the cap has been removed for the traders that was there earlier, and that's the reason perhaps we are seeing the reaction. So pick up a Mavana sugar, Shakti sugar, Dharani sugar, Symboli, any name with a sugar after it, and that one is racing ahead. But let's move on and answer some of your stock queries then. RK Shukla calls us from Mumbai with a query. He has investments in ITC. Mr. Shukla, thank you so much for joining us, sir. बताइए आपका क्या सवाल है ITC पे?
जी मैम, मैंने अभी कुछ पहले 1 महीना पहले आईटीसी का शेयर ऑफर कर दिया था 265 पे, और मैं लॉन्ग भी कर सकता हूँ, तो क्या आपका राय रहेगा मैम?
ओके, सो आपके पास आईटीसी के 265 पे शेयर है और आपको जाना है लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए होल्ड कर सकते हैं या नहीं?
जी मैम.
Okay, Sharmila, if you can answer the guest in Hindi as well, what is your take? Is that the stock that you can hold for long term and forget about it, or there are other names also available?
नहीं, आई थिंक जिस बिजनेस में आईटीसी है तो दो या तीन ही कंपनीज है जो लिस्टेड है, तो वैसे बहुत ज़्यादा चॉइस नहीं है. अगर आप एफएमसीजी की बात करें तो बहुत सारी और स्टॉक्स देखे जा सकते हैं. जहाँ तक आईटीसी की बात है, मुझे लगता है एक तो ये जो समय है बजट के पहले का, वो हमेशा आईटीसी के लिए थोड़े खतरे का रहता है, क्योंकि हमेशा हम देखते हैं कि सिगरेट कंपनीज के लिए कुछ ना कुछ टैक्सेशन के साथ चेंजेस आते हैं. लेकिन आई थिंक बिकॉज ऑफ जीएसटी दिस टाइम प्रॉबली वो सब चीज़ें थोड़ी बिकॉज वो सब अभी सब टैक्सेस आए हैं, तो वो एक खतरा दूर हो गया है. लेकिन आई थिंक उसके साथ साथ ये भी देखना पड़ेगा कि जो बाकी बिजनेसेस है आईटीसी के, जब तक वो कंट्रीब्यूट नहीं करते बॉटम लाइन में, तब तक आईटीसी जिस तरह से बाकी एफएमसीजीज को जिस तरह से वैल्यूएशन मिलता है, शायद उससे थोड़ा कम मिले. दैट सेड आई थिंक कि मुझे ये स्टॉक अच्छा लगता है, और अगर आप लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टर है तो आप ज़रूर होल्ड कर सकते हैं. लेकिन ये दो चीज़ें ज़रूर ध्यान में रखें कि किस तरह से ड्यूटी और टैक्सेस का स्ट्रक्चर बदलता है सिगरेट बिजनेस के लिए, और किस तरह से बाकी के जो उनके बिजनेसेस है, वेदर इट इज़ फूड प्रोडक्ट्स और आईटी, जो कुछ है उनके होटल्स, पेपर्स, जो बाकी के उनके अन्य बिजनेसेस है, वो किस तरह से धीरे धीरे बॉटम लाइन में उनका कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन बढ़ाते हैं.
All right, Sharmila, what kind of a multiple would you give ITC? I think we can go with 10 rupees as an EPS. You would give it 30-35 times?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the kind of so you are talking of like a price of about 350-360, which I think is a fair price.
All right, so at least 35 times is what we should be looking at in terms of ITC, assuming that the EPS is around 10 rupees. I mean, okay, all right, Rajat, ITC, what would be your take on ITC? How does it look technically?
Technically, it looks like a base formation is already on, and once it crosses 275, 280, then there would be a breakout, and chances are that over the medium term, say 10 rupees EPS and times 35 times the multiple, 350, and the technical target is also around that, 340 to 350 over the medium term. I personally hold the stock in my portfolio, and I expect that ITC would do well over the medium term, and especially I'm pretty bullish about the food and paper businesses as of now. So chances are that apart from the cigarettes cash flow, foods and paper might actually propel some growth, and probably 350 could be had over the next 6 to 9 months.
Okay, all right. It's a consensus call from our experts. Fundamentally, as well as technically, ITC could see good returns from these levels. Maybe 350 odd is the target you could look at. Well, we have our next caller. Mr. Rao calls us from Hyderabad. He has a query. In fact, oopsie daisy, he's got into Ruchi Soya. Hi, Mr. Rao. Good afternoon, sir.
हाँ, बोलिए सर, बोलिए जी।
आपका सवाल क्या है, सर?
तो मैं 2017 जनवरी और फरवरी में मिला के 15,000 रुचि सोया का स्टॉक लिया था। एवरेज प्राइस है मेरा 28 रुपीस
जी।
परसों गए सो महीने में सुना मैं कोई इसमें 4,000 करोड़ का कोई पार्टनर आया बोल के, उसमें कुछ डेवलपमेंट आएगा बोल के देखा, लेकिन न्याय और भी कम हो गया। क्या करना है, रखना है ना तो निकाल देना है? मैं तो लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टर हूँ।
ओके, ऑल राइट। शर्मिला, व्हाट डू यू से?
तो आई थिंक कि जैसे कि आपने कहा कि ये ज़रूर खबरें रही है रुचि सोया को लेकर कि कोई इन्वेस्टर आएगा और उस पैसे से शायद वो डेट वगैरह कम करेंगे, लेकिन उसके बावजूद हम देख रहे हैं कि जैसे कि आपका ये अनुभव है कि 28 रुपये से 17 रुपये तक आ गया है, तो ये प्राइस पर आप शायद थोड़ा होल्ड कर सकते हैं, लेकिन मेरी बहुत ज़्यादा उम्मीद नहीं है ये स्टॉक से। तो अगर आपको कोई बाउंस मिलता है तो ज़रूर आप इसमें से एग्जिट करिए, यही राय रहेगी।
Going into that break, we were looking at the rupee strength. Now, you should always look at export-oriented companies. You look at the IT index, for example. That's moved to the low point of the day. Infosys has suddenly slid to the low point of the day, so just keep that stock on your radar. TCS as well is moving lower. It's seen a cut of close on 0.3% in the last few minutes, so just pull up that stock as well. And a couple of other stocks are the likes of Sun Pharma. So that one as well should come up for you. Normally, IT as well as pharma stocks, we perceive them as export-oriented or international exposure. Dollar-denominated revenues is what we look at, and that's why in fact some of these stocks have moved lower. But mind you, some of the other stocks that are doing very, very well. Maruti Suzuki, that's moved to the high point of the day. Mahindra and Mahindra, pull up the intraday chart, that is well moving higher, and that's what's really fighting for the bulls. So despite we are seeing selling pressure on the IT index, you have the Bank Nifty that's underperforming all through the trading session. Despite that, some of these auto stocks are doing well. Vedanta as well has moved to the high point of the day. Hero MotoCorp should come up for you on the screen. Both of them doing quite well. Well, let's move on. Then we have Mr. Kumar, who calls us from Chennai. He has investments in Syntex. Hi, Mr. Kumar.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
How can we help you? Good afternoon.
And actually, I'm holding stocks of 20,000 with Syntex at the rate of 38 rupees.
Okay.
And at present, I'm seeing very shocking price of 23 rupees 60 paise. And some analysts, they are saying that its chart pattern is head and shoulder. It may come down to 16 rupees. And I want to have advice whether I can hold it or what is your advice on that?
Okay, going straight then to our technical expert that we have with us. Rajat is with us. Rajat, is it going to that 16 rupees?
See, at the moment, it's in a downtrend, and the downtrend is a pretty steady downtrend. But since the downtrend is quite old, it is difficult to say whether it is directly headed for 16 or so. It can go there definitely. But I would suggest that if there were to be a rally at all, and if it fails to take out 24.60 to about 26.25, this range is a potential supply zone on the upside if there were to be a recovery rally. And if it fails to take out that zone, then he should immediately exit. Otherwise, since it is in a steady downtrend, he can choose to exit here. I know that his losses would be quite great, but then losing more capital is not really in order.
Okay, so stay nimble when it comes to Syntex Industries and keep a track of how the prices are moving is the word coming in from a technical expert. But Sharmila, what's your take on Syntex Industries? There's another stock of the company, Syntex Plastic as well. Would you advise the investor to switching on to that?
Yes, I think that would be my preferred play, that I would actually shift out from Syntex Industries to Syntex Plastics. But I would broadly agree with Rajat in the sense that maybe he can wait for a bounce and then make that shift. Okay. Because I think a bounce looks imminent at this 23 kind of price. But if I was holding for a longer term, I would prefer to be in the plastics business.
Let's head across and answer some more stock queries then. Satish Kumar writes to us from Chandigarh. He holds around 500 shares of BHEL at 92 rupees since 2 months. He's a long-term investor and wants to know whether to hold or to sell. Rajat, coming to you for this one. BHEL, we have seen very divergent views coming in from the brokerages as well. The stock has been moving right from that 80 rupee level to 120 rupee level. What is the chart telling you now? Is there more upside left to BHEL in the near term?
Well, first of all, Anisha, my views could be a little predilected because I'm personally holding this stock in my portfolio and I have taken it on a long-term basis and at a lower level. Having said that, what I would say is that if you say near term, then it needs to cross the 100 mark. If it were to cross the 100 mark, then probably there will be some good move that will take it up to say 125 to about 128. But till such time it takes out 100, I don't think you can expect an immediate move. Rather, a consolidation is in order. But personally, I would suggest that holding on to this stock with a stop below 75 on closing price basis would be the best thing to do. But do not expect any fireworks here at this point in time.
Okay, do not expect any fireworks at this point of time. Technically, stop loss at 75 rupees. Sharmila, quickly, what would your take be on BHEL?
Well, I would agree. I think for me too, the stock is a hold. I think that if we see any recovery in the kind of orders that they get as well as the execution, this entire sector is now like absolutely ready to see a better phase. So I think from that point of view, all the negatives are in the price. So from a long-term perspective, it's a hold.
Okay, so the negatives are priced in for BHEL. Thank you, Sharmila and Rajat, for joining us and answering all the stock queries. But that's all the time we have on the show. Do remember to keep sending us your stock queries by posting it on our Money Control message board. Stay tuned. Closing bell will take you through the last hour of trade.